All right, my name is Rika Wong. I'm a writer for the Western Front. Would you mind if I record this interview?
For
Could you say your first and last name and spell them both for me, please?
Dustinterpening, D-U-S-T-I-N, Terpening, T-E-R-P-E-N-I-N-G.
Okay, and what is your title?
Spokesperson for the Washington Department of Ecology.
Okay, and what can you tell me about the Georgia Pacific West cleanup site?
Well, we have a project that's about to happen down at the GP West site where we're going to dig out a couple pockets of mercury contamination, and you're talking about pockets that are the two pockets about the size of 2 to 3 parking stalls, so they're not very large, but it is some of the highest concentrated contamination that we have on the entire site.
Okay, and is that waste also a result of the Georgia Pacific paper mill?
Yeah, this is the contamination left behind from Georgia Pacific, and it's right near where they used to. The contamination in the ground is near where they used to use mercury as part of their pulping process.
Okay, and who owns the property? Is it the Port of Bellingham or the Department of Ecology?
Yeah, most of the property is owned by the Port of Bellingham.
Okay, and do you know when they acquired the properties?
I believe in 2005.
Okay. And what's the plan for the portion of property that's not owned by the Port of Bellingham? Do you know?
Oh, I don't know that one.
Okay. Do you know what the cost of the project is?
Yeah, this what we call this cleanup work that's happening. It's starting in March, and then it'll finish up in May, and it's going to cost about $1.8 million.
Okay.
And we've got a contractor on board, and they're going to start digging in March. And something interesting is that once they dig out the soil that's contaminated with mercury, they're actually going to mix it with sulfur and cement and create concrete blocks, and that essentially stabilizes the mercury, and then the concrete blocks will transfer to a hazardous waste facility.
Oh, very cool. Who's covering the cost of the project?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Who's covering the cost of the project?
So the Port of Bellingham pays for the work, and then the Department of Ecology can reimburse the Port of Bellingham up to reimburse them for half of the cost through the state's Remedial Action Grant Program. Mm-hmm. It's a program that helps pay to clean up publicly owned sites, and it's funded with revenue from a voter-approved tax on hazardous substances.
Okay.
If you have the news release, I sent a link to OSA, so if you have that news release, it's in there.
Okay, great. When did the planning for all this start, and then when was it approved?
This has been years in the making, and I don't know when it was. It's something that's been worked on through the years with support, and now we're actually getting to a point where we're starting some cleanup work.
Okay. Do you have a rough idea of how long the planning process was?
Several years.
Okay.
I don't know that one off the top of my head.
So then the Port of Bellingham is the one that's in charge of cleaning up the site, correct?
Yes, so the Port of Bellingham hires the contractor, and then they do the work, and then we oversee the work being done there, as well as approve their cleanup plan and everything else. And it's something that happens through the Model Toxic Control Act. Look it up if you want. It's state laws.
Okay. And what's the planned use for the land after it's cleaned up?
I do believe that the port plans to develop the property.
Okay, great. And can you tell me what exactly was completed in the first phase of this project?
Well, this isn't a first phase. This work right here is what we consider an interim action. It's work that happens. It's something that we think needs to happen quickly because of the kind of contamination that we found down there. We need to do it ahead of the larger site-wide cleanup.
Okay. Is there anything else you want to tell me about the project?
I think that about covers it.
All right.